Hello, everybody, and welcome to the show today. We're really looking forward to getting into the news a little bit later. But first, of course, we're going to be talking to a guest we have here about Rabid Comics and their a new Indiegogo that's going on called Quick Strike. We'll get into that momentarily, of course. And we appreciate you guys coming and joining us as you always do, which is absolutely awesome. I do see Lady Celtic Moon is in here, Roger Heller. We also have Mets. Hey, Mets, what's up, dude? And let me see. Yeah, and I see a lot of comments and hellos and good things from you people. Do keep in mind all our links down below as usual. We'd love to guys to check those out. And if you're not on Fanspeak, get over there and be part of that because that's really cool what's happening there. But also, seeing as we are live streamers, please hit that share button and somewhere along the line, if you want to hit that subscribe, the like, and Dinale tells me something about some stupid bell. Whatever.
Mhm.
But mainly we need you to hit the share button because that's what we do. We got Dennis in here. Hey, I haven't seen you in a while, Dennis. How's it going, dude? But happy to have you guys here. And I guess first thing I'll do is come over here and say hello to my panel. We have ourselves a rare guest. The boss has come out of his shadows and has poked his head up. Hello, Mr. Pixel Trader.
Well, hello there. It's actually the second stream I've been on today. Surprising.
Oh
I'm,
wow.
I'm making
Well,
rounds. I'm
well,
making
you
rounds.
you're pushing your cover crashers, right?
Yeah, well, I finally announced the date today.
Oh,
I
awesome.
decided to go ahead and do it on August 2nd. So yeah, I'm starting to gear up. I don't know how many streams I'm actually going to be able to do just because my time constraints and stuff, but I'm going to pop on here as much as I can. Maybe I'll come on D&Q one of these
Ooh,
weeks. We'll have to see.
threats.
Just yeah, we'll
As
have to
a
see, man.
competitor?
As a competitor, I'll try to come
Wow.
on.
Oh,
Wow. We have not seen that since episode 1, man.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
and it didn't
And
even date.
actually, that first week of August is 1 year since IndieCron launched. So it's kind of, I mean, it's pretty crazy to think how much has changed since then. But
Right?
it's all kind of tied into anniversaries and stuff. So yeah, man, I'm gonna try. It really depends on whether or not I can get the evening off to do it, but I'm gonna go for it.
Awesome, dude. And it is cool that we're coming up on our year with IndieCron. And of course, IndieCron has been very useful and a lot of, is your traffic still real solid over there?
It has been, when we had the issue with the team kind of having issues back in, I think it
Yeah.
was March.
Yeah.
Traffic kind of dove for a little bit. Right now, we're back up to where we were back in like January, February.
Well, sweet.
Average, about 600-700 visits per day. It's not a ton, but considering the size of the CG community in general, I think that's pretty good.
I
But
think so.
I'd love to expand that out further, and we're doing some things to reach out to other communities and stuff to get more eyes on the project. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, no, I think we have there's about 300 people that are extremely active day to day in this community. Overall, there's 1,000 we see interacting here or there, and I know that overarching there's more, but most of that I think is coming out of Ethan's Star Wars fans and stuff like that, which is all they're more than welcome, of course. And I think the interesting thing with his Star Wars fans is he's actually made several of them have become actual comic book fans as well along the way, and that's cool, actually. But it really is I feel it's about 300 people that are daily active in this community, and which is awesome. One of the things we have been talking about doing, and I know you're working on doing that with various peoples, is trying to expand beyond this community into a broader community to try to get this more interest and more involvement and stuff. And
Yeah,
we're all interested in doing that as well. So,
yeah, it's hard, and one of the things that we've noticed is a lot of the creators don't realize that they need to do that as well. I mean, we can definitely help them with that, and we've got a few groups that have been started around Twitter and stuff to help people promote and get some more information out there. Hopefully, we'll have a blog fired up pretty soon, which is going to kind of lead into the Insider project that Dr. Wright was talking about recently.
mhm.
But we really want to start getting that information out to people about how to get their stuff marketed. Like
Yeah,
really pick out your target audience and go for it. You've got to be able to do that because for as many people as we have that are currently backing projects, I mean, you see Jawbreakers that took off. What's it like 30K already?
yeah,
Or pretty close. That kind of thing is not going to happen to a normal campaign.
Mm-mm.
Unless you've got a good following behind it, unless you've got clout in the community and stuff, you're not going to see that. So you really have to reach outside of the core group of people that back stuff on the periphery
Yeah, no, it's
and see
true.
what can happen.
And I've actually tried to do some outreach, I guess is the word, into the board game community because you guys know that's where I came in from, and I've got about 100 people or so that come or casually keep an eye on what's going over here, and they kind of cursorily have an interest in comic books, role playing games, and things like that. But the vast majority of that community is actually made up of yuppies, millennials, and well, it is. I mean, you have to
Yeah,
understand that the board gaming world, which some of you might say, well, yeah, board games, Monopoly, is that what you mean? No, dude. The board gaming world is in an absolute golden age right now. There are
absolutely.
thousands of ridiculously cool games. But the problem, I don't know if it's not a problem, but the thing with it is really these yuppie, progressive, millennial, the people we consider to be noisy and loud are really the ones pushing that, actually. The idea of sitting down and playing a fun family game together is right up their alley. And so the problem is that the vast majority of those that I interact with, they are not interested in comic books at all, which is weird. You would think they might be, but they're not. Not at all. They
Yeah.
might talk about it, but they do not care about it at all. Yeah. Which I don't, we really don't want those noisy people over here anyway. But I'm just saying that, yeah, I've tried a little bit, but I haven't had much success. I say about 100 people.
Yeah, it's difficult to pull in a lot more eyes, but we're
Yeah,
trying, man.
we are.
There's definitely ways to do it, and the way, I mean, look at how many new comics are coming out. In fact, I've got a couple submissions to IndieCron that haven't gone live yet, but there are two new kids books that just got submitted.
Hmm.
Um, there's a lot of good stuff coming. I'm really excited. I just gotta
Oh
I
yeah,
gotta get this
dude.
stuff up there and see and be able to branch into those markets and stuff. I think would really be a good thing right now, especially
Hmm.
kids. We need a lot more kids reading books.
We do. We just need to find the angle to do it, and I agree. Just the past a few interviews we've had here. We had the Iron Skies on here, and that's a beautiful looking book. We had George Alexopoulos on here yesterday talking about his Mary Sue or Madi Sue. That's a gorgeous looking book, and it shocked me, dude, when I saw it because his problematic. I didn't like that art style at all, and I told
Yeah,
him I was honest about it. But that the thing he had yesterday is absolutely stunning. It's gorgeous. I love it. And we're just seeing a lot of really cool things coming out. You got the Monster MD, you got Shinobi Sasquatch. There's some really high-end, beautiful art and cool things going on. And of course, here today we're talking about another nice-looking Indiegogo as well with Rabid Comics, which we're going to get you in a minute, dude. Don't worry. We just got off on a bit of a tangent here, but a good tangent, because one of the things we need to do, and this is for everyone on the panel and everyone in the chat, we do need to think about how we can go about expanding into other communities. We do need to do that. And I know there's much of us who've tried, but we just haven't found that angle yet. So if anybody has ideas or things they think we should be doing, let us know. We're all about trying to expand the community, and we'd love to help if we can. But let's move on from that, and but maybe we should have a deeper conversation on one day, on one show like that, talking about it. But anyway, Booster, hi. Booster, Booster, Booster must be getting alcohol.
Oh, I'm
Well,
here. I'm here. I've been
well,
here the whole time.
okay, all right. How you doing,
Uh,
dude?
oh, dude, I'm swell, thank you. I made my own little like English muffins with eggs and bacon and hollandaise. It was gorgeous.
Ooh, that does sound good. That sound
Mm,
good. Did you use the little egg ring to make your egg?
I
Or are
did.
you
I did.
are you oh you did. I was hoping you weren't a savage, so I'm
No,
glad.
well,
Glad to hear.
of course not.
Yeah.
Bloody hell.
Awesome. George, how you doing today, man?
greetings.
Well, there's lots of excitement
Greetings.
from George today. All right, and of course we also have Denali, our most awesome news gatherer and person who likes to yell at Chester. How you doing, dude?
Hello. Hey,
Hello. Hi. Comic
hi.
Book Bob has an idea of an area we can expand into. He says porn. Sweet.
Yes,
I don't really think
I
you
agree.
you want any of that
I,
from me
I
anyway.
second the motion.
Jeez.
Especially me. Google boy band. There you go. That's my favorite.
Don't do anything he says. Don't do that.
Ezra Miller.
Absolutely. Even especially you can find it on YouTube without the sex scenes. It's my favorite thing in the world.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah.
Actually, I saw something the other day because I
Uh-oh.
love video games myself, of course, just like most of us here. And I saw something the other day. I was watching, I guess, the Lazy Peon. He's a British guy. I like his. I like MMOs, and he talks about that stuff a lot. And he was talking about League of Maidens, which I'm not really that interested
Oh
in, but
no.
he was going on about it. But then he mentioned he started talking about another thing called Subverse. Never heard of it. And then I saw the clips, and I see it's a very sexual thing. It's like a porn MMO game. But I'd never heard of such a thing. So I was like, okay, those things exist. But I understood what it meant because Booster taught me what a sub was.
Mhm, mhm.
Sweet. I was like, yay, I know what that means.
Yeah.
Yay, now we can use the Captain American reference for Chester. So I'm going to
Huh?
put that. The Captain America reference.
Don't
They
you,
could now mean.
don't
It's
you
the
disrespect
line
Captain
from the
America.
Avengers. It's
Yeah.
the line from the Avengers when he says, "I understood that reference." He was doing like a meme
Oh,
kind
I
of thing.
get it.
You know,
I get it. I get it. Yeah, cool.
yeah. All right.
All right, well,
Mhm.
fine. But I think we certainly warmed up plenty enough talking about how to
Yes.
expand Indiegogo, IndieCron, excuse me,
Oh,
Indie Revival, and of course IndieCron as well. But let's go ahead and jump over to our
what?
guest we have today. You have something to say before I
What?
do that, Dinale?
Yeah. PSA. Remember, if you're getting any tweets, DM that says only for you, do not click it. Delete it. Those are a virus. If you do click it, please change your password. Please go to your account settings, check to see any apps has been added to allowed apps, and get rid of them all because it'll continue to mess you up. Thank
Yeah,
you.
yeah. Well, this is where it's good in being a boomer. I don't
Mhm,
even do
mhm.
the Twitter thing hardly. So
Mhm.
I'm safe, man. But yeah, definitely watch out for yourself there, guys. We don't need any. I'm not sure how bad this virus is, but we certainly don't want to see anybody losing computers. Or I've had a couple of viruses in my life. I actually just had to I don't know what they call it, where you have to go back to the beginning of your
Herpes.
computer. Herpes.
Factory factory reset. Oh, talking
Yeah.
about herpes. Have you everybody seen that news about that girl selling the
Bathwater.
bathwater and everybody getting
Oh
herpes who's
no.
drinking it?
Oh wow.
Why were they
Allegedly.
drinking it?
Why would you drink
I
Well,
it? Yeah.
Yeah, why
yeah,
drink it?
I don't know,
I
but
don't understand how you would contract herpes into the water just by wallowing in it, but
It's
yeah,
probably
it's still
bull. It's probably
gross.
bull anyway. But no,
Yeah.
I saw it's a Gundam covering that. He covers a lot of
Mhm.
those Twitch. What do you call them? Thoughts. Twitch
thoughts,
thoughts.
yeah.
Yeah, that's what they call
Hmm.
them. And he was covering that, and I think it's hilarious for me because we've talked a couple times about how invasive pornography is on the internet, but yet you're going to go pay a ridiculous amount. That girl is making $175,000 a month on her Patreon,
Yeah.
and she doesn't show even a nip, dude.
It's ridiculous. It makes me depressed. I don't get
It is
it.
depressing. Yeah.
I
Well, you know
being
why?
a remotely attractive girl caked in makeup is just playing life in easy mode. It's just ridiculous.
Hey, I don't blame her at all. I mean, more power to you,
Ah,
girl. I mean, she's
hustle,
making
boy.
she's making bank,
Ah.
right? But what I'm saying is, the reason why it's happening is because a lot of parents are somewhat responsible, and what they'll do on the internet is they'll put parental locks on the internet. And which is a smart thing to do. If you have kids and you don't have your internet parentally locked, you're not parenting correctly.
Mm, mm.
But what the problem is, Twitch has rules that state that, hey, we're a family friendly place, therefore there's no ratings and the kids can come play this, so the parents say, oh, okay, this place is okay. But Twitch is actually full of it, and there are a lot because these thoughts are making huge money. They let them get away with absolute nonsense, and these kids, of course,
Mhm.
these parents who are being semi-responsible are somehow not keeping the credit cards away from the kids, and they're dropping huge money, which is, of course, why we're seeing loot
Mhm,
boxes
mhm.
actually going to court and actually having politicians get involved, which might initially sound like a good idea, but in the long run, it's not.
You
That is
don't
not.
know what else they'll want to control, huh?
No, dude,
Like,
that'll.
oh, this is too violent. Oh, we can't have this sexual content in your game. Oh, I don't like this game. I don't like this political message. This game should be more feminist. That's where it leads up to, boys, when you
That's
start
right.
involving them.
Well, I remember Tipper
The
Gore.
slippery slope is not a fallacy. That's what I've learned in the last bloody decade.
Well, there you go. I'm glad you learned
Yeah.
something. you know.
Yeah.
But no, it reminds me of Tipper Gore. She was so hell bent on getting that devil music, that heavy metal. We got to get that heavy metal music, and of course, in the end, this is where we get the rating system from, was
Hmm.
coming out
Hmm.
of Tipper
Yeah, the
Gore's
parental guidance.
activities, parental guidance stuff. Which I don't mind
Hmm.
that, actually. I don't mind games and stuff like that having. It makes it easy, actually. I think it's a good thing. But they will not just take one bite; they will take the whole cake if they can. But
Hmm.
anyway, DeWolfman, I have not seen you forever. He says, I don't use parental locks. I just stayed involved with my kids. Well, I never used them either, dude. I'm joking. I never had to worry about with my kids. Actually, my kids are more worried about daddy seeing stuff that from the Japanese anime that you wouldn't like that, dad. Actually, it's kind of depressing to me a little bit that my kids actually protect me from the hentai
You
stuff.
don't know. I
No.
might like anime titties.
No, no, but yeah, no. I think DeWolf, that is a very good comment. You just need to stay involved with your kids. I know from my personal experience, you just every day involved with your kids, helping with their homework, teaching them, disciplining them in the proper way, and guiding them. It's what you need to do. It's if you're going to be a parent, be a frickin' parent.
Ooh.
Don't use video games and other things like that to babysit your kids. It's ridiculous. Like in my house, for instance, Monday through Friday, video game playing was restricted to 30 minutes, and on a Saturday and Sunday they were allowed an hour, and that's it. And they complained a little bit at the beginning, but after that they got used to it. And I made exceptions on certain situations, but in general, you just stick to that, and they're fine. Nick W says, "I remember Tipper Gore." Chester 2019. Anyway, we're wasting so much time. Let me get over here
Mhm.
and talk to Rabid Comics. How you doing, dude?
Good. Thanks for having me, guys.
Oh no, we're happy to have you. We're going to take a deep dive into your book here, man. Now we've seen you, of course, the Journal Recorded Fan Edition, and always happy to have you come in and do that. It's a lot of fun. So we know a little bit about you already, anyway. But just in case this is a different crowd in here, which there might be. I see Macho Dan is in here, Zaid Comics. You got Cat in here. That's cool, seeing all the people show up. But why don't you tell a little bit the people just a little bit about you? Who are you, where are you coming from, and how did you get here?
Oh, sure. I don't know how far back you want me to go, but when my parents met, you know, the birds and the bees,
Wow, that's pretty far
and then
back.
I was born. Yeah, and then
Mhm.
at school
Tell
and
me
stuff,
more.
and um, well, skip forward some. I got into comics. A buddy of mine was an artist. And he was into comics, and we were real young, and he was my best friend. So, like most kids do, you usually gravitate to what your friends are interested in. So I started getting into comics. I was reading comics, and he started to draw. He was always a really good artist. One of those people that just pick up a talent and just run with it.
Hmm.
And yeah, I didn't know you can make your own comics. And he would always, every time I saw him, every time we hung out, he would have like another page done of this comic he was just making up as he went on the spot. And I don't know, I started getting into drawing myself, so I would draw my own comics, and that was like from when I was like 7 till now. And the book that I'm currently working on is called Quick Strike. It's actually a character I created back in grammar school. I mean, a lot of it's changed, obviously. His design, his story, all that's changed like 1,000 times. You keep working and tooling it, and
Hmm.
I got to a point where I was real happy with the story. And in fact, Quick Strike is actually the character he's battling is another superhero. He's a vigilante called the Cat, which is actually my buddy who got me into comics. That was his comic book that he was working on back when he was a kid. So that his character that Quick Strike is fighting against is that character that kind of got me into making my own comics. So it kind of goes full circle in some kind of inception kind of way. And also it helps to launch not only my comic, but if my buddy decides to do his superhero thing and wants to do like the Cat series, by all means, he'll be able to do that. Wow, by the way, I've never seen how much I've never seen my campaign in another country, so the yen thing is pretty neat. By the way,
Yeah,
I'm just gonna
people
say
like it.
that.
I can actually adjust it so it shows in dollars, but everyone yelled
Yeah,
at me when I did that. Like, Chester, we like the yen. It looks better. So I was like, all right,
yeah, it looks
fine,
really
fine. So
cool.
I switched it back over. But yeah, I guess. But yeah, no, yeah, it's we I talked to you a bit before on the drone recorded about how you got involved and things you're doing. It's really cool. But it is interesting. You talk about this cat character now. Quickstrike is this more
Hmm.
ninja-looking fellow, and the cat
Yep.
guy is seems to be the enemy of some kind. But why don't you kind of lay out the page? I'm just kind of going through the art. I do notice
Hmm.
that I kind of like the way you're using. I don't know what they call it, but when you go on the internet and you take like a photo or a model and you put that
Hmm.
model in, but because what you've done with the city here, but I like the effect that you put on it, the way you're using it, because some people it just looks so generic and empty and lifeless. This is kind of nice little effect you have. What do they call it when you take a photo and you incorporate it into the image? I forget.
You know what? I can't remember the name of it off the top of my head, but
George, George, what do you call that?
of the jungle.
Rotoscoping?
I'm sorry. Go ahead. A little louder, George.
Rotoscoping?
No, 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 no. There's another. Anyway, it doesn't matter. But I think that's pretty cool. We're looking through the here now. It's all black and white now. Are you planning now? Covers color, obviously. But this is a black and white comic you're putting out.
Yeah, in fact, if you scroll down, you'll see part of my stretch goals is to get the comic colored because I personally
Mm,
don't like coloring. I would love to have the book colored, but I would like to pay them a fair wage to
sure,
do it.
sure. Yeah.
Um, I spoke to a couple of professional um, like comic book colorers and stuff like that, and they said, if you're gonna do a comic, you should look anywhere between the range of like $50 to $100 for getting a colorist to do your book or something like that. So, I mean, if anything, something fair, I wanted to have
Mhm.
money to throw at them to do it
No, it
because
sounds
it's
sounds
time
good.
consuming, and I don't want to do it.
Yeah, no, I
Plus, I always
understand
thought,
that. Yeah.
yeah, plus I thought it'd be cool to have like kind of like a manga version of the book. I'm a big fan of manga myself, and plus it brings down the cost of printing is to have a black and white book.
Mhm. Well, we're definitely getting a lot of comments over here in the chat, and none of them have to do with this quite yet. Well, a few of them. Basically, there seems to be an argument on whether Canada is good or not, and of course, I can end this argument for you quite easily. Cat R says, "Oh, look, it's Chester, the Canadian hater." No, I don't hate Canadians. I just hate the French. Yeah, it's really quite simple. And DeWolf says, "You can run with comics, but not with scissors." I don't know what that has anything to do with anything, DeWolf. Stay on topic, people. But yeah, no, I hope you can get to that level because I'd like to see it colored, of course. And we do have some great colorists in the community too that you might be able to reach out to. Now, you went with a very long campaign. Instead of doing a month, you're doing the 2 month thing, which,
Okay.
it seems to be, some projects go that way, some don't. But now, it says right here, Quick Strike is a comic book about a superhero who works for a top secret government agency. Okay, so he's a
Mhm.
black op guy, NSA guy. Tell us a little bit more about that.
Okay, sure. So this comic itself is not an origin story.
Uh-huh.
It's an introduction story because I wanted to jump right into the action. It's kind of like how if you watch a movie, usually it doesn't start. It doesn't start some they're sitting and drinking tea. You cut right to some action, something that gets you involved into the story. TV does it a lot. So I kind of took the same elements into a comic book because I wanted to
Mhm.
jump him right into his story, his basic story, not only of his but also the cat's. So anyone who's reading the comic can instantly get a grasp of who the characters are.
Mhm.
They see him being sent right on his first mission. His first mission is to capture the cat. So he's sent on missions. So he works for a government agency. Anything that's kind of mysterious or weird, right? Like a 6 foot tall cat guy walking around a city would kind of get the government's interest.
Sure.
So because of the level of danger, they send in someone like Quick Strike. Now, Quick Strike's ability is he has faster than sound reflexes. It's kind of like spider sense, but not really. I would call it more like a proximity sense.
Okay.
The way I explained it is, if you ever had something like flicked in at your face or your eye, you will blink before it hits your eye. your eye will instinctively blink before it gets touched.
Sure.
I'm sure you've experienced that yourself. So it's
I
like that, but
have.
for his
I have,
yeah,
but
for,
Booster is usually so sauced that he doesn't react at all.
yeah, it's like a
Put on
week
a
later. But yeah, so it's like that for his whole body. So like if something's like coming closer to him, it's kind of like bullet time basically for him. When things come in proximity to him, it kind of like slows down to his perception. So he's very, very difficult to hit. He has an enhanced strength and agility, durability, the basic kind of soup of most, basic broth of most superheroes. Able to fight for long periods of time and stuff like that.
Sure. Yeah.
So he gets sent in on it. He works for a government agency. His origin story, without giving too much away, is basically they kind of blackmailed him into it. So he doesn't really want to do it, although he does have his internal sense of justice, right? So in the origin story, we're going to delve more into that, into
Well,
why he get into the agency and why he works for them. But this comic, I wanted to show him doing most of the stuff you would see the original story arc would go.
mhm.
So
Well,
it would just be a general idea of what his missions are like.
Well, you can coming in with a hot action story, and then
Mhm.
after the action or the mission is finished, doing a book where in the cool down period you have some flashbacking to his origin and doing an origin story that way. That's just fine. You don't have every first issue doesn't have to be an origin story. It's not necessary. I do see the overview here, and it says Quick Strike. Simply put, is one part Captain America, one part RoboCop, and one part X Files. All right. It will be a standard 24-page comic, strongly influenced by my love of the 90s generation of comics and action films. It is for those who love that classic comic book nostalgia. This will be an intro book, not an origin story. It jumps right into the story to show off the characters, their abilities in the world, with plenty of great action and humor throughout the book. We got some humor. Nice. I appreciate
Mhm.
humor. But let me come over and start with Dinale today. So, Dinale, you got some questions here for Rabid Comics regarding this book?
So he'll say, "Your move, creep," right?
A what?
He'll say, "It's your move, creep," right? The RoboCop. You'll have
Oh.
a catchphrase.
No catchphrases,
No catchphrase.
unfortunately.
Okay.
No.
Oh, okay.
Oh, that was
Um.
your question. Okay.
Yeah.
George, what do you got for a question here for Rabid Comics, dude?
You said you created this character back in high school?
Back in grammar school. So it was probably
Grammar
when I was in
school.
like 7th or 8th grade.
What was the environment around the time that you created it? Were you alone? Were you in company of friends?
Nope.
Yeah.
I was I have the middle child syndrome, where you hang out in your bedroom all by yourself reading comic books. So I was just I read a lot of like Wizard magazine and stuff like that, and I would always see these really cool comics that either I couldn't afford because I was a broke kid, and or they just simply didn't have those titles in my comic book store. They just didn't carry those titles. So I would
And
see a lot
how
of really cool stuff. And
uh
what's that?
and how did you continue it throughout the years until now? I mean, did you just touch upon it whenever you can? I mean, was there long periods of time
Yeah,
between?
there was long periods of time when I wouldn't do it. I mean, there was other stories and comics that I was interested in doing. Um, some more manga centric because I started getting into really like Dragon Ball Z and a lot of anime influence. So I started writing stories that were more towards like anime stuff, more Dragon Ball Z or Street Fighter type stories. Getting back into comic books, that's kind of what reinitiated me into Quick Strike, and I started just thinking about his stories. Every so often, like an author, you'll just like taking a shower or like washing dishes, mowing the lawn or something. Just ideas will just come and go as you're just passing the time. And as I started gathering those and writing them down, and I thought I had a good initial story arc. I actually have for Quick Strike, from his origin story to the ending of this first volume would be I have about 50 issues planned for the character. So if
Oh,
this takes
very
off,
nice.
Sweet. Sweet.
Yeah, if this takes off and this does well, my next project would be to start with the Quick Strike origin story, and then continue that until the first volume is complete. That's where his story, the main story arc, the main focal story arc will end. And then after that, I'll see where I can take the character. But I have about 50 issues, for 50 different several storylines and villains and stuff like that lined up for him.
Well, that's awesome, dude.
What does Chester? What does that translate in actually U.S. dollars?
This I'm looking right here. This is about $210, $220.
Oh, that's
235.
There you go.
Yeah, close. That's good.
Depends on the rate, right? But DeWolf says the basic broth of superheroes. Ew. And then Dr. Wright says, "Whoa, DeWolf? I thought he was in Witsec or something." So did I, dude. So did I. And of course, you notice when I
Maybe
mentioned
still
Black
is.
Ops, he perked right up with that.
And he's just communicating from his little whatever ancient device they're given to tap around with.
That's right. That's
on
right.
his off time,
Yeah.
just after he assassinated a pope.
That's right. That's right. Don't mess with the DeWolf. Macho Dan is in here hanging about. That is awesome. I still just love saying Macho Dan. That is awesome. Have you considered Alterna? That's a question for you, Rabbit.
Oh, well, I've actually I try to hop in Alterna's chats and stuff every so often. I messaged him a couple of times. He did refer to me a couple of questions I asked him in the chat, although he never mentioned my name or anything. But I had asked him about like page rates and things like that, and he did answer them. And he also said that his titles, the only titles he's interested in, are short runs. He only likes small contained mini series issues. So it'd be like 1 out of 4 or 1 out of 6, something like that. And he said with the potential of like continuing it, but none of the stories that I'm interested in telling are in that kind of format.
I see. Interacting with this goes for everybody listening. Interacting with Peter Samedi over at Alterna Comics. Just keep in mind that dude is mega swamped. That basically that entire company is just Peter. So if you send emails or something to him, just be patient. He will get back to you. He will. It just might take a bit. But he is absolutely swamped. But he's a good guy though. He will respond to you eventually. Just be patient with it. He has a very strict format for what he wants to have in his company. And of course, he's, as far as I remember, Dinale, I think he said he was booked out to 2021 or something, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's how it just exploded. And he's always reporting in his live stream that he's always doing continued growth in his business, that he's actually moving his business to a larger office because he can't maintain it.
Yeah, but no, I'm pretty sure the last thing I remember Peter saying was February 2021 is how far he's booked out. So just be patient with it, but definitely that doesn't mean you don't submit it to him. You should submit. He does have a very exacting thing he wants, and he'll tell you though, just like he told Rabbit here. Just go and ask him. And one of the things though is he's looking for a complete set team ready to go. Now in this case with Rabbit, you're doing the art and the writing, correct?
Yep, everything on my own, unfortunately.
Yeah.
I don't like it. That is what I have to do. I mean, ideally, my team would be like a manga style team where I can just do pencils and someone else inks and background screen tones or something else.
Sure.
That would be ideal.
So you consider yourself more of a writer than an artist? I think your art looks really good.
No, I consider myself more of an artist than a writer.
I see.
But I would rather focus on just penciling than doing anything else. Like, I'd rather pencil than to ink it and stuff like that and color it, screen tones, all that.
Cool. I get you. Now I'm going to do something that is never recommended, Rabbit, but I'm going to do it anyway.
Okay.
And I'm going to ask Booster if he has a question.
Yeah.
Wow.
See, there you go. That's why you don't do that.
All right. No. I'll actually. So with the $1,000 goal, right, and flexible goal too, is this sustainable for you? Have you taken things into consideration, like what do we call it, shipping and weight of the package and such, because 1,000 tends to be very low, and I'm usually concerned when I see a very low goal.
Okay. Well, I'll ask you why you're concerned with it, but after I explain why it is. Okay, so it's for a couple of reasons. And actually, you're not the first person to ask this, but so the reason why it's low is because I put it in the calculator back when I was first doing all the math for this campaign. There's like a page at Comic Launch. I don't know if you guys are familiar with that, but he has like this calculator where you put in what you can expect to make out of your campaign, right? You put in how many followers or social media presence, people who are supporting you, people on your mailing list, and it gives you a rough idea of how many backers you're going to have, right? So if my real goal would be like 17,000, right? 17,000, I'd be doing great. I can pay myself a nice page rate and be set, right? Even move on to the next project without any hiccups. But the reason I put it for 1,000 is because when I put my information to the calculator, he said roughly I'd have about 100 backers. His calculations. I don't know. He doesn't show the math of how it breaks down, from like Instagram followers or Twitter followers or whatever. He doesn't show you, but he said roughly you should have about 100 backers. So I was doing the math for a regular comic book. I did the math, and it came out to be like just over 1,000, like maybe like 1,200 or something like that. And I was like, well, 1,000 seems like a pretty good goal, because like I think Vestige also had like $1,000 goal, and another one had another $1,000 goal, and I was like, oh, okay. So I see like a pattern. They're also setting for 1,000. Plus, I mean, I understand that I'm not nobody. I don't have a following like Ethan or John Malin or these guys that were they're famous before they decided to do their own campaigns.
Yeah, sure.
They already had a following. They already had some interest. They use the platform of Marvel and DC, and that's already how they have their following. But for someone like me, I don't have that kind of platform. I don't have someone to be like, oh, I wonder what Rabid Comics is up to. They're not Google searching me, right? So the reason I did 1,000 was because the Comics launch numbers said it was reasonable with how many backers I would get. Also, because I thought that if $1,000, it would be an easy goal to reach. Most people have, I forget what the exact term is, but when something is successful, right? So like if somebody recommends a restaurant to you, like this restaurant could be new and a lot of people don't go to it until somebody recommends it, like, hey, this place is great, right? It has that social proof. So if I have a successful campaign at 1,000, more people are probably more likely to back a successful campaign. So at $1,000, if it's successful, I thought more people would be like, well, it's already successful, must mean that it's something good. So that's why. It's more of like a psychology thing, I guess. But as far as like the shipping and stuff go, sorry to I didn't mean to keep cutting you off.
No, go ahead.
But yeah, the shipping and stuff, I'm doing USPS, the postal service here in the States, and they have flat rate shipping boxes. So anything, envelopes and stuff, anything under 4 pounds in the States is like $8.
Sure.
So, and anything overseas, again, if it's under 4 pounds, they have a flat rate, so it's not going to change. I don't have to weigh anything, and plus they come and pick it up. So if I have 1,000 packages that need to go out, the post office will come and pick them up. I don't have to go to the post office. I don't have to, I don't have to go there individually and stamp each one or something.
Right.
All right.
Well,
I just get a little concerned because I see some people say you need a good like at least 7,000. How much was Tales from Beyond Gate?
yeah, that
you guys
was.
wanted like $10,000.
Yeah, that's right. But
of course, but that was also for a lot of pages and a lot of artists and stuff, I suppose.
Well, that was a ridiculously huge book. Yeah.
Yeah. And Rabid, are you doing everything yourself? Like
I am.
art, lettering, writing, everything? I swear. All right.
Yep.
So less people to pay off, I suppose. All right, I understand. I just like to have those concerns cleared up.
The reason why Booster asked that question is because we here and I know many people in the chat actually know exactly how much this costs to do, dude. And there's a lot of
Right.
little costs that maybe you took into account, maybe you didn't. What about your shipping packages? That those are going to cost a certain amount of money per comic, right? How are you going to ship it? You have to make sure it gets there intact, because if you don't, you need to have that overprint in order to cover damaged stuff, and they have to be reshipped. There's a lot of little costs that come into it, and a lot of the people, like you see with Manny over at Good Dog Press, where he put his project at $1,000. He's almost four now. But the reason he
Mhm.
did that wasn't because it was going to cost him $1,000 to get the book out. He knows it's going to cost him more. He did that so he could get a high ratio on Indiegogo, because now that he's 300% of his whatever, he's three
Mhm.
times his goal. Indiegogo will actually recommend it and put it on the feature page. He's trying to play the system, is what
Oh,
he's trying to do.
No.
that's
Yep.
clever. I
Uh,
didn't know
I
that. He's a
Yep. I
clever
heard that
boy.
too.
yeah,
Yep.
and a
I've
lot
heard
of
that
people are
too.
doing that, and that's not necessarily a bad idea. But the
Mhm.
reason the concern coming from Booster is a concern we all have, because in the end, there's a lot more money involved than you might realize. And of course, DeWolf here is asking a very good question for you, and Pixel as well. Pixel's talking about shipping, but shipping
Mhm.
fees can be put in. And we're assuming you went and researched that, put into the extra costs to be carried by the backer. That's fine.
Mhm.
But the Wolfman here is saying, what about your packages? Which I just mentioned. How much is it going to cost per comic to ship the thing? I mean, as far as your cost for packaging, right?
Well, so if you ship with USPS, if you do the flat rate packages, they're
hmm
free. I could right now have 10,000 boxes or envelopes for free,
hmm Okay,
right?
but
Until I mail them.
are you
Mhm.
just going to put your comic straight into a package? You're not going to put it in a plastic. You're not going to board it.
Oh yeah, I'm doing bag and boards. I've calculated the price of like a bag and board. Like you can get like bags and board. I checked it out on Amazon. Like they have like you can do like a 200 pack or something like that.
hmm
I forget what the company's name is, but you can do like a 200 pack and it's like $15. So like break down the cost. It's cents. It's like less than 50 cents to do like a bag and board for each copy.
Yeah.
But
Well, there you go.
I totaled it into because
Oh,
the
good.
comic itself,
Good.
I have it set for $12, but all of that includes, not only the cost of printing the book and then, um, the bags and boards and things like that, but also my time in actually shipping and handling it myself.
Not good. That's good
Because
to hear. Yeah.
Is it a
right,
local printer?
no, it's not local. I'm actually using Mixam.com, Mixam, and anybody who's interested in like doing their own, uh, making their own, publishing their own comic book should really look into them. I did a bunch of research. One of my earlier Twitter posts, I did a whole bunch of. I was googling all the types of printers um, who do, printing comic books like Kablam, Comics Wellspring. I did a Print Ninja. I was running all their numbers. I put every single number in, for my page count, the type of paper quality, colored covers, if they had an ad or if they didn't have an ad, because Kablam will give you some change off. I think like 30 cents an issue off of printing if you include their ad. And I ran all the numbers and mix them. Not only do they have the highest quality, right? So they use a higher quality paper stock and I think like finishing. Then compared to and lower price point than all the other ones at every single level. Like if you printed 50 issues, they're cheaper. If you print 1,000 issues, they're cheaper. If you print 2,000 issues, they're cheaper, but have a higher quality.
Okay.
Plus
Well,
the difference with like Print Ninja, the higher count you go, it's for what it is, but obviously the more, so you go 3,000 issues, you're going to be like 56 cents of a comic.
sure.
But the thing is, they're overseas, so you still have to pay for this crazy shipping
Right.
costs and
Well,
time for it to go overseas.
Well, there are companies
Mhm.
inside of America which we've gone them over here. I'm not going to keep pushing them over here, but I never heard of mix them. But that's fine. I know Kablam has had a lot of complaints because of misprintings and trouble, so they're not unknown. But that's good.
Oh.
I'm glad you went and did research and found some stuff. There is a comment here that Pixel's making. That's a very good point. He said you
Mhm.
talk about your $8 for your shipping, but actually what you should be doing is going through media mail shipping for with the post office, because that's only about $3 to $4, and then you add your Gemini, which will just seal up the book real nice and pretty. You could save $2 a book right there and have a much better tight delivery package than what you're doing right now.
Not necessarily. Media mail is only good if you have absolutely zero advertising in your book.
Which it sounds like he does. He doesn't have any
No,
advertising
he
at
has
all.
advertising. It's not,
No,
he.
he said that
It's,
if he chose to do that one
oh,
company,
right.
he would have to put ads in. But I mean, but media mail is definitely a way cheaper way to go as far as
Yeah.
inside the states, right? But anyway, we don't want to get into that. We've talked about these things many times before, and it's really good to hear that you went and did your work and research and figured out what your cost was going to be. That's really nice to hear, because not everybody does that. So good on you, dude. Now, what I'm going to do real quick is I'm going to play this trailer, and then after I'm done with the trailer, we're going to do a little bit of news, and then we're going to come back over here and look at your perks. Okay? So I'm going to play this trailer, but am I going to be happy?
No, you're not.
Oh, damn it!
Yeah, I'm sorry, man.
Fine.
You know what? Are you playing it already?
I am. It is
Okay,
happening.
because I was gonna say you asked
Boot
me to
Strike
reach
is a
out
90s
to
style action
Doug
adventure superhero comic.
from
This book is
Lone
unique,
Wolf.
as
Sure.
it is
He
not
does
an origin
music.
story,
And I
but
did
rather
reach out to him, but I
a true
didn't
story,
hear him in time
as
for
it
me to put
will
out a
introduce
trailer.
two separate
I
heroes
reached out to him
and
and he
share
said, "Yeah, no problem." But then
Boot
I haven't heard
Strike,
back from him
simply
for a
put,
while.
is like
I'm
one
sure the
part
guy's really
Captain
busy, so I
America
don't follow
Well, I
him
am
on it.
playing it right now, but they
and
can't
one
hear it
part
because you're talking
X-Force.
over it.
It follows the
Oh,
story
okay.
of Max Armano, aka Quick Strike, who works as a government agent who is sent on missions to investigate unexplained and strange phenomena. Please check out the Indiegogo campaign. Please consider supporting this fun project.
Oh, you
Okay.
need to do some audio leveling, bro.
Yeah, no.
Your music is well overpowering the sound of your
Yeah,
voice.
it is. Now, what you need to do,
Mm.
there's nothing wrong with that trailer at all. It's quick. You have some music. You're talking about your project. What's wrong with that? It
Mhm.
looks fine. Yeah. No. Now, what did you create this on? You must have created it on some media editor of some kind.
Yeah, most of it. Yeah, since they're just still images, I just used Movie Maker, I think. Whatever
Okay,
came
that's
with your
fine.
computer, you know.
Now, what you need to do after you get everything done, you need to make sure you balance your sound to the music. And usually we do like you could do like a 100% on your sound and 50% on the background music, or maybe even 30. And then what you need to do, which I see a lot of people don't do, you need to render it. And when you render it, it makes it one cohesive thing, and it flows and it works. It sounds a lot better. But you do need to render it after you're done. But I don't think there's anything wrong with that trailer. I think it's fine. You just need
Well,
to deal with the sound.
well, I know you're a big music guy, and
I
I knew
am.
there was a sound. I knew there was a sound issue. The problem was that I didn't have. Remember, I was waiting for Doug to see if he would give me music,
Sure.
and I hadn't heard from him. So I just put it on YouTube without music, and it sounded horrible. So I added in the YouTube music that's for free that they add. They're like, "Hey, want to add music to your
Yeah.
thing?" I was
Why
like, "Yeah,
not?
sure."
It's
But I add
handy.
it, but YouTube doesn't allow you to do sound mixing. That, or
No,
I'm so unskilled in it
that's
that
Oh,
I
no,
don't
no,
know
no, no, no,
where
no,
the levels
no,
are.
no. No. What you need to do is
Mhm.
you need to download the song off of YouTube, and then drop it into your media editor, and then inside your media editor you can adjust your sounds any way you want, because there's no kind of like watermarking on it, and you just I don't know what the audio version that would be called, but then it really comes down to, I hear a lot of times with with this going on, is people
Mhm.
are just not rendering the finished product. And I made the same mistake, dude. I did the same thing. The reason I know this is because I made the mistake and Pixel yelled at me. He says, "What are you doing, Chester? Render your stuff." Rah, 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 rah." He's
When you
he's very
download
mean.
files from YouTube, um, make sure it's royalty free. There's two options there. One is you have to give credit to the song, and the other one is no credit at all.
Yeah, fair point. But yeah, I just think go back and and adjust the audio and render it, and I think you'll be fine. But I think the trailer looks fine overall. It's nice, quick, to the point. It's cool. All right, guys, we're gonna do a little bit of news now, and we'll come back and look at the perks after. Thank you very much. I see Mox is in here. Hughes News. Yeah, Mox is in here. Awesome. Glad to see you guys. I get a lot of. I'm moving over, Hughes. Calm yourself. All right, here we go. So let me see here. Oh, this one is from Dinale. Really wanted us to cover this because he's gloating, I think. Go ahead,
Yeah.
dude.
Well, basically, from Deseret News Entertainment, Disneyland becomes a ghost town with Star Wars Galaxy Edge opening. Basically, a lot of you guys, if you're following Star Wars, you probably, and following a lot of the similar channels, you probably have already heard about Disneyland being a ghost town, that they're reporting record low attendance. Virtually rides are about 20 to 30 minutes to get in, and nobody is going there. But on the other hand, Universal on the other side is reporting record sales for the straight 4 weeks.
Yeah,
a lot of
no.
them a lot of them are contributing to the high price range of entering, and also all the bad news and blockout days. They're getting so bad that they're actually bringing the electric parade out, taking off the block off dates. And there's rumor about laying them off, cast members, because they don't need them, all to entice people to come back in. The reason why I brought this to the attention is also the other part of it. Disney, we talked about this in the first quarter of the year, that Disney was reporting profits in the parks, which is one of the reasons why they were staying the course with all their wokeness. Now that the park is actually suffering, it's getting to the point where the bean counters, the real power of the corporation, will be saying you can't do this anymore, and you might see a heavy change in the leadership, especially in those board of directors.
Well, that would be nice because that's what we need. That's where most of the identity politics is coming out of those people. But yeah, no, Disney is having trouble across the board. Actually, it's not just here in Disneyland in California. Disney World itself is also having low issues, and we're even seeing some reductions in other places as well. I think one of the big things that's hurt Galaxy's Edge here, however, as far as the commentary and news I've seen, is the fact that they did do those kind of blockout days because they thought they were going to get absolutely inundated. So they were actually blocking the access to Galaxy Edge to try to make sure they could keep a balance of people throughout the park. But of course, this didn't happen, and then this ended up being very troublesome to them. But another thing is happening. A lot of the news is coming out. You're paying hundreds of dollars for, say, like a lightsaber, and they don't work. We've gotten a lot of complaints about bad attitude coming out of the supposed people that are supposed to be working and helping you at these places. They're overcharging everything. The cantina where you can, for the first time, drink alcohol, they're charging ridiculous amount of money. There's actually a beer set that's over like $100. It's just really expensive. They're overcharging, and you're not getting any kind of quality thing in response. So people are seeing this, they're backing off from it, and of course, we do know there's a lot of controversy going over. I really don't think that Disney has estimated properly the amount of backlash to The Last Jedi. I don't think they understand how how harshly that hurt them. They're really underestimating it because people are pissed. They really are. They don't understand that you took the greatest IP in human history, as far as we know, other than maybe the Bible, and you have absolutely destroyed it in a series
So
of a
the
couple of
Bible is an
years.
IP.
Why isn't it?
Who's trademarked it?
Well, the Catholic Church.
Oh shit. True.
Yeah. But I'm just saying, they screwed up really, really bad, and all for the wrong reasons too. And I really think this is coming back to roost. We've seen toy sales get to such a harsh level that it actually killed Toys R Us. Let us not forget that Toys R Us lays upon the sacrificial altar of Disney. right? And a lot of the stuff is coming back on them, and I really think we're starting to see the damage coming home. It takes time, right? And I think you got a lot of those, bean counters, as Dinale had said, that are sitting back there looking, oh, we made this much money on this and this and that, and they're not looking at the bigger picture because they're totally out of touch with reality. Because they think, in the end, they're helping humanity because they're teaching us how to human better. And people are like, screw you. I want my Disney back. And what's Disney's response? Oh, they come out with Little Mermaid, but now it's a black girl and done in the Caribbean. That's exactly the response people wanted. Trust me, Disney, it's going to work out beautifully for you. It's going to work out, right? That's what I have to say about this. Anybody else?
Disney is stupid.
It seems so.
I don't know what the hell they think they're doing, man. They've gone full blue pill. It's sad to watch, really.
Right. The other comment is I know I saw a lot of Daisy Ridley, talking about fairness and all that stuff. The reason why she's talking about it isn't because she really believes it, is because she's doing damage control on the whole situation for her own career.
Yeah, but no
Because
one
she sees
cares. No one cares what Daisy Ridley has to say. Nobody.
And she
No,
has made some weird comments.
right. No. What I'm saying is that her comments that she's been reporting that people are fair to criticize the film, it's not coming out of her who really want to do it. It's really
Yeah,
her
but
to save her career, her lack
she's
of.
also said that anyone that assumes Rey is a virgin is sexist. It's like, what? Where did this come from?
Well, first of all, I don't care.
Wow.
It's such a strange comment. And apparently, Rey definitely uses dildos. What? No one wanted this.
Why would I want to do? See, this
What-
is a complete
was
lack
that a
of
real
understanding of
thing?
what
Yeah.
frickin' Star Wars
Yeah.
is.
Was that real or was that fake? I feel like that was like a fake news thing
I think that was a real
because it's
thing.
too
I'm gonna
clickbait.
have,
That's too clickbait.
I'm gonna have,
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to verify it. I'm gonna
Yeah.
verify that right now. Does Rey masturbate?
Oh my
That's
God.
what I'm
Oh,
googling
please.
now.
Hold
Okay.
the video.
See, there's the video. Oh goodness gracious. Yeah, I don't.
Uh-oh.
Uh-oh.
I'm gonna have to refine the search a little.
All right, fine. But anyway, I do see Macho Dan says, I got my lone wolf in a Gemini mailer. They were shipped bagged and board. Yeah, they do. I've gotten a few of those in that as well. It's cool, dude. But there's not much to say on this other than we predicted this from the beginning. Well, actually, I give the credit where credit's due. Denali predicted this from the very beginning, and of course he's right, 100% right. And it's not a shocker because we've been watching this debacle for quite a time. And it's like, and we had, you did have Bob Iger there for a while trying to right the ship, trying to gain control. And obviously he's lost complete control. The board has, obviously neutered him. It's easy to see. And they're going forward with what they think because, once again, you need to educate us savages. And this is not going to work out for you. It's really, really not. But you keep at it and you absolutely kill it. And we'll see what your investors have to say in the long run. Let's not do that one real quick. Let's do this thing. Now this is an interesting story for me. I'll just catch the headline real quick, Denelli. Samuel L.
Sure.
Jackson joins Chris Rock's Saw reboot. Now this is interesting thing to me. Chris Rock, who I like, I think he's funny, he's honest too. And we also have Samuel L. Jackson, who can be interesting from time to time. He just put out that Shaft movie, which was so beautifully indignant. But it's interesting to me because we don't see, it's not normal to see black actors, black directors, and such like that involved in horror. It's not something they usually do, but we've been seeing more of it recently. We saw the Get Out, which was okay. That was fine. Us was a horrible disaster of a movie, really. And of course, those Twilight Zones, someone needs to be slapped. But we have been seeing, black professionals starting to want to get into horror stuff, and it's interesting development for me. It's not something we usually associate with them. But I think I like Chris Rock though. What do you guys think about Chris Rock and Samuel L. Jackson rebooting the Saw franchise, which I didn't know it needed rebooting. I think they just had a new movie not too long
Uh,
ago, but
I hope it's a comedy because
I couldn't care less.
as long as it's a comedy, then it'll be a fresh take. But if it's a horror, we already got that. King Kong's not going
you
to
know,
make it any different.
well, it doesn't make any statements that I recall skimming through this article about that happening. I think they're taking a pretty straightforward look at it, actually. Did I miss something in this article, Denali? I think it pretty much they're just rebooting Saw. Plain and simple. It's not a
Yeah,
comedy at all.
yeah.
Yeah.
They're not saying anything about making it Saw anything different than what it was.
We've already had 8 films. I don't care. I'm not a horror fan, so this isn't for me either way.
Uh-huh.
Me either.
Yeah. Well,
Uh,
the thing with Saw, that was a low budget, mega success movie, and they didn't really know where they wanted to go with that in the long run. They've spent the past 7 movies trying to flesh out a universe that they had no intention of creating, and that's fine. Now you could start from the beginning and have something more accurately fleshed out, I suppose. But I just don't know that we need it. But then again, we've been getting a lot of crap no one asked for. So I don't know. I don't know. What do you think, Rabid?
I'm not a fan of of reboots, and I'm not a fan of horror. So I feel
Wow.
like
It's like a double
yeah,
pop.
this is not. Yep, this is not. I'm not the intended audience. I suppose.
Wow, I love horror, actually. Mr. Thundera says it's just marketing by the executives to save the genre. It's horror but black. Same thing they do with everything. Yeah, no, I don't really. It doesn't mean anything to me that it's the black guy. That doesn't. That's not the issue. I just thought it was interesting because we usually don't see black directors, producers, and that community involved in horror. It's just not normally what we see. But recently, we have seen it. They've been kind of edging into that market, which I think is fascinating. I just don't know that it's been very successful yet.
This is Tyler Perry's The Saw.
It could be. The funny thing about Tyler Perry.
Don't get yourself cut up by that saw, baby.
Well, here's the thing, though. I know who Tyler Perry is, but I've never seen one of his films ever.
Oh, no.
Me either.
Imagine this PC reboot. Like, they come out and
Hey,
say,
Todd.
the puppet from Saw,
Hey,
he's
what's up?
gay now. And he has an Asian boyfriend. Little puppet, Asian
Jesus
puppet boyfriend.
Christ, man. Speaking of that, we didn't really cover that very much, but I mean, talk about someone needs to put a sock in friggin' Tom Holland's mouth. I mean, that idiot coming out and say, "Oh, wait, Spider-Man's just another cis heterosexual male. I think they should make him gay." And what do we don't need no cis heterosexual male. First of all, stop using the word cis. It's a made-up nonsense we don't need. And once again, you're talking to 97+% of the population. Good job, frickin' Holland. Aren't you trying to sell movies? Oh, no, that's right. You're trying to virtue signal and get woke, aren't you, you little shit? And it's like, you're going to piss a lot of people off because most people who like him are women because they think he's cute. But here's the thing: a lot of these stupid identity politics people, they don't understand that when you say these kind of things, it pisses women off too. It isn't just men you're angry. They think they're just stirring up the men. It's not. There's a lot of women who, they like their husbands. They like their sons. You stupid. Oh my God. Freaking Tom
way to
Holland,
piss
dude.
on Stan Lee's legacy. Not months after he died, right?
Yeah, but
his biggest character.
It's a dumb move, dude. It's a really dumb move.
Don't be stupid.
Anyway, I think it's time for a damn trailer. I need a trailer.
Wait,
Todd, I need a trailer.
Oh, not this one.
I'm watching this one.
Is this a real?
It may be.
I
don't know. Real. Maybe I'm going to click on it and get herpes. I don't know. It could happen. It could happen.
Walt Disney Studios with a big check mark next to it.
Well, first of all, I liked Mulan, the animated series. I thought it was cool. See, that's one of the things I thought was kind of neat about if you look at the princess movies, because princess movies, of course, are for girls, but a lot of us grew up with sisters and stuff, so we end up seeing these movies anyway, and they tend to be fun in general. I mean, I think I had a lot of fun watching Aladdin, and Beauty and the Beast was good. Snow White. I mean, they're fun, right?
Hey, Chester, what's the best song in Mulan?
I have no clue. Right now. I have no freaking clue, dude.
The
have no clue.
man.
But
You
is
know
that
that
what
one?
it is? But the thing they're doing in this one, we know, is they're making her a lesbian, which is absolutely stupid.
What?
Yes, which
Okay,
is absolutely
before we
stupid because
begin
it breaks the entire point of the story. Because
They're
it's a
also
before
removing the "Be a Man" song from this movie.
listen, before we
Well, there's
begin
supposed to be
this
no
trailer,
singing, right?
no, it's
you
a
got
music.
you gotta know a few facts about Mulan.
Do
When
I?
when it premiered in China,
Uh-huh.
it was a complete failure because it was complete disrespect to the Chinese culture. And
Oh.
no, it's serious. I spoke to Chinese producers a couple of years ago, and they told me, "Do not do anything like Mulan." Period. It was a complete disrespect to the culture. It was a complete failure. There's absolutely zero money. They pulled it from the theaters.
Hmm.
Everything that you heard of it being a success overseas was complete propaganda. And if they pull the same crap that they did with the animated movie, this I'm beginning to see a pattern with Disney.
Well,
Now that they have a greater power and a greater reach, and being more of a monopoly than ever, they can just lie about their numbers. I don't believe the numbers of Captain Marvel or Aladdin. And if Mulan's going to be a success overseas, especially in China, it's it's a lie. It's 100%
well,
a lie.
yeah, but George, you need to keep something in mind though. When Mulan came out, at the time it came out, no one cared about overseas box offices at all. This is a more modern phenomenon, especially with China, because of the market has opened up and become a potential place to make money. At that time, they didn't care about China making money in China. That was the very low on the list of things to do, dude. So you know the fact that the Chinese might not have liked it, that's fine. But then again, the Chinese don't like anything. They're some of the most noisy, annoying people on the freaking planet, dude. I mean, they're worse than the
This movie is
French.
racist.
They're worse
Me
than
no
the
like you.
French. The French, right? That's how bad. Okay. Anyway, moving on. I'm going to click in it. Hmm.
We have excellent news. The matchmaker has found you an auspicious match.
It is decided. Come and sit down. It is what is best for our family.
Oh my
Okay.
god.
That's not how Mulan starts at all. All right, fine.
Yes, I will bring honor to us all. Quiet. Composed. Graceful. Disciplined.
Where's Eddie Murphy?
There's
These
no Mushis in
are
this
the
one.
qualities we see in
Has
a
to
good
be.
wife.
No, it's
Well, looks like
Wow,
they
it's that
made it
little-
in China.
These
Okay.
are the qualities we see in Mulan. It is my duty to fight.
Got some moves.
A little bit. She's an acrobat, obviously. All right. Well, first of all, where's the music? There's no music at all. They're making basically a standard knockoff Chinese movie is what they're doing, which I guess that could be fine. But they kind of missed the point. The whole reason Mulan did what she did was to save and help her father. It was all about her dad. It had nothing to do with arranged marriages or anything. But oh, whatever. But I don't know. It
What?
doesn't look that
So
bad.
she's out there battling men as a woman?
No, she was. She didn't reveal herself. It was much later where she married the general that she fell in love with. But no, they
But
they
he's
shouldn't
saying
have
in
her.
this, he's saying in that trailer, she never looked like a man.
It looks that's stupid. Of course, she hid as a man. She lived the majority of her life as a man. I mean, this is a legend. It's a story supposedly based on a real person. Is it or is it not? Who knows? Who cares? But the Mulan story is interesting. But I have no idea. I have to watch it. For when I saw it looks fine. But no, she should be completely hidden. She should be acting as a boy the entire time. And it shouldn't be about her getting married or something like that because it's all about her trying to save her dad. Because in the story, her mother is dead actually, and her dad is old, very very old. He had her very late, and she's trying to help her dad because there's requirements that they send each family send a male to fight in the military. Since he has no sons, he has to go himself, but he's way too old, so she doesn't want to see him die. So she talks him into letting her take his place, and that's how Mulan starts. So it's about simply helping and saving her father is what it's about. The whole thing is about that. And then in the end, she falls in love with the general, who knows who she is, but he keeps her secret, and yada yada yada. But it is an interesting, old school feminist story. Not none of this nonsense toxic crap we have today. But I don't. There's not enough in that trailer for me to make an opinion. I think anybody have you got any opinion on that, Todd?
None.
Yeah.
Not so whatsoever. I don't know why they keep doing this to their animated movies, is turning them into live action movies, because you're better off. I don't know. I mean, you're just. Why can't we make a new movie? Every time we look at
Yeah.
the billboards, it's movies from the 80s.
It
They're just
is.
being rebooted and
is.
sequeled,
So it's
and
easy.
it's crazy.
Is it
Have
easy
any of
though?
you guys
It's
seen the
lazy, I think.
90s? Have any of you
Yeah.
guys seen the 90s Psycho shot-for-shot remake with Vince Vaughn?
Yes, and I didn't care
Yes.
for it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Was shot
because
to
it's a
shot.
pointless movie, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was
It's
crazy.
a
It was
completely pointless
somebody
movie.
with a
Like the
huge
original is
ego.
fine, the original is iconic, and everyone knows about it. And then you come along with this just knockoff that just redoes it, doesn't improve anything, doesn't change anything. No, what's the point of these Disney bloody live action remakes? The animation is so gorgeous, top notch quality animation, and then we're
Well, I
just
have a
replacing it with
theory.
what, more live action? Why? It takes away the soul of it. There's no point.
Well, I have a,
You're
I think
just
that
giving us a little cheap, low quality knockoff.
right, but see what they're doing is that one, it's easy because they already have the story, right? They already have it, and then they think they have the money because they already have an audience, right? They think that the people who watched Mulan the first time is going to be like, well, I definitely want to see it in live action. So they think it's easy money. That's why it's easy for them.
Yeah, but I get what you're saying, and I understand the concept behind it. But for me, when I look at the animated princess movies, one of the things I really liked about what they've done in the princess movies is they demonstrate different cultures through the movie. We have
Mm-hmm.
German, we have Danish, we have
Mm-hmm.
Hawaiian with Moana, which is a great little fun movie. We have Mulan with China. We have Arab representation. We have Native American one. We have one that deals with the kind of Santeria culture of the southern states with the Frog Prince, et cetera, et cetera. They've demonstrated all these cultures. So for me, it's like, okay, well, where's the Japanese one? Where's an Indian one? Let's go to
Mm-hmm.
Africa. Why don't you make an actual Africa princess movie? Why not? I'd watch it. Let's see
Mm-hmm.
one from Russia. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
well, this is what they've always done with the princess movies. So why don't we continue that? Why don't we see more of that? Why are we going back and doing these stupid live action? Which the only one that seemed to have done well was Cinderella, which seemed to do
Mm-hmm.
pretty well. Or was it Sleeping Beauty? I can't remember. I think it was Cinderella, because Beauty and the Beast was
Yeah, it was Cinderella.
was highly mocked in the states
Yes.
because Emma Watson can't sing to save her life. Now over here in Japan, they got a
What
little
a
luckier.
disaster that was.
It was bad, right? But over here in Japan, and
Mm.
I'm assuming other countries, they got lucky because it's a Disney movie, so therefore it's automatically dubbed. And the singer they got here in Japan to cover it was a great operatic singer, and she did a wonderful job. So the kids over here, when they saw it, the Emma was singing wonderfully. But I'm just saying, other than the Cinderella, they have not had great success with these, but they keep pushing them. They keep, and I don't get it. Make an animated movie. Everyone loved to have it. When's the last Disney princess movie we had was Moana, right? And that was a great success. It was a great little fun movie. That was a great family movie, man. And it showed us a bit of Hawaiian culture and history. Awesome. Keep doing that,
Mm.
right?
And also, there was also a Polynesian hero, a Maui. He's known in the Maori culture as well.
Well, there you
So
go.
that was a big hit for New Zealanders.
Yeah, there you go. But I mean, it's fun, right? Let's do more of that. I'd love to see an Indian story, or I don't know why they're not doing an African one, especially with all this sickness in their head. Why wouldn't you do an African princess story? There are a lot of them. Matter of fact, there are some actual African, princess or royalty stories dealing with women that are actually are in the culture are about a lesbian female. And there's not many cultures that have that kind of story. They usually kind of whitewash those in a way to make sure it's all very normal. But Africans actually have that in their culture, so it's like perfect for these identity politics, progressives. I don't understand it. I don't get it.
Sounds like you need to
Well,
work for Disney.
Well, they would be having more success. But I mean, come on, wouldn't you guys love to see like an Indian princess movie, or maybe one from Russia, or maybe one from well, we had one from South America, right? What was I forget the name of that one? What was the name of that one? The
Which
South
one?
of
Which was it?
I can't remember.
That's not a Disney movie.
It's not.
No, you're
I thought
thinking of The Road to El Dorado.
Yeah, Road to El
Love the
Dorado.
Road to
That's
El Dorado.
that's not a
Yeah.
Disney movie though.
that's the
No,
one
it's
that has the
DreamWorks.
llama in it.
Oh,
You're talking
Oh,
about the
you're
Emperor's
talking
New
about
Emperor's New
Bloody Groove.
Groove?
yeah.
Say that again, Booster.
Emperor's New Groove.
Yeah, the Emperor's New Groove. That's not a princess
That's
movie.
a hilarious movie.
Yeah, that's a
It is
princess movie, right?
such a far different tone for anything else that Disney had done, but I think it's so funny.
Yeah.
Oh my god, that's probably one of their funniest movies.
Yeah, but I'm
Mm.
just, that's my opinion on it. I know people are talking about northern invaders, thus Canada. Canada takes more flack. Once awesome. It looks like Once Upon a Time in China reboot. That was actually a fun movie, dude. How about an animated Shaka Zulu? I think that would be interesting, but I think they need something more princessy. But there you go. But that's the problem, though. The only African stories we ever really see is Shaka Zulu. Which is interesting, I guess, if you want to talk about a complete murderous, cannibalistic tyrant. Rock on, I suppose. But Africa, you do realize there are thousands of cultures in Africa who have thousands upon thousands of their own folklore and stories, and no one touches on it. The only thing I've seen recently that even slightly touches upon African culture was American Gods, right? And they had the trickster spider coming over. But there's some interesting stories you could take out of there, but no one touches it. So I don't know. Whatever. Let me move over and let's do one more, and then we'll finish up going back looking at the perks on Rabid Comics here. Here it is. Here it is. What's it? Denali.
All right. So from CBR, the Joker movie will anger comic books fans, the director says. So he's already warning you guys, like, hey, if you're coming here to see the Joker from the comics, don't expect it, because that's not what we're doing over here.
Oh, obviously, we could tell that from the trailer. I don't know. Am I going to be really angry about some Hollywood take on something? I mean, that's all they do is underwhelm me. So I don't know what to tell you. But I don't know. Marvel has done a fair job of making some real fun popcorn movies. They even had a couple of really good ones in there along the way. But Warner Brothers just sucks. They suck balls, dude. I mean, hot, sweaty balls, dude. And it's like, damn it. I mean, the animated movies are good, but they can't make a live action to save their life. Goodness gracious. Anybody interested for this? Has everyone got their hands up and going to be waiting in line for days to see the Joker? Anybody?
I can't believe DC flip flopped on this. You got the directors out there saying this isn't a comic book movie. It's so ridiculous. Try to hurt, like, you couldn't hurt a movie more. Just
Right.
be
Yeah.
quiet. Just
Your IP
make the
is
movie
based
and
on
just let it go and
a
be its
comic
own
book.
thing. Yeah, it's nuts. Don't say anything. Who are you to be going, digging on fans and going, this is not a comic book movie. You're going to be mad. Well, okay,
Imagine
if
that.
I'm going to be mad, I'm not going to go see it.
That's
Dumbass.
right.
Imagine your pitch being, look, I gotta warn you, this is a piece of shit. Before you go in and watch it and pay your money, right?
Mhm.
Oh, this what I created back here. Woo! I left this stinker over there. I didn't even flush. It's a mess back there. You don't want to look at it. Just leave your money. Just walk away. Just get out.
Right.
Get out of here, you rascal.
Yeah.
Do not go
How's
in there.
how's your father says? Booster's a Maori warrior, right? Absolutely. Hey,
True.
he's
Yeah, bro.
I call him the caramel kid because he's that
Mhm,
color, you know.
mhm,
But
mhm.
yeah, it's not true at all. DeWolf says, director says my movie will flop, right? How's your father says it's okay. I'm waiting for Star Wars movie will anger Star Wars fans. Yeah, they'll never say that because you're wrong, not them. I don't know, whatever. I
Uh,
mean, if you go about watching this movie, I'm sure it's going to be well acted. If you look at it as something that has nothing to do with the Joker, it might be okay, right, Dinelli?
right. I mean, if you go in there and it's like it has the Joker, but it has nothing to do the Joker,
Mhm,
um, then you're not gonna get angry. This is not the Joker, and just enjoy it as what it is.
mhm.
And for the Star Wars comment, actually, everybody don't care. Nobody's talking about the last Star Wars episode 9. They don't. I don't hear any buzz from it. And the
No, because we're
more,
done.
I think we
yeah,
could start a hashtag when that Star Wars episode 9 comes out. We all hashtag uh, who watched the old Star Wars movie. Grabbed a few friends or friends and family, went to over to somebody's house, and during the opening night, everybody stayed over at a house and enjoyed A New Hope, Empire Strikes Back, or Return of the Jedi. True Star Wars. That's the kind of celebration people can get behind.
Yeah,
yeah,
well, we'll see. I haven't seen much hype or talk about it. Even the comic book channels, excuse me, the Star Wars channels aren't really talking about the new movie. They're talking about comics or they're talking about the old stuff or role playing games or what have you. I don't see much conversation about that movie at all. And I'm pretty sure it comes out this December, right?
yep, it does.
I, it's weird. I think that I think they're very cleverly kind of. I don't know, like with that announcement of J.J. Abrams' son taking over Spider-Man.
Hmm.
I think that detracted attention from it because, like, if you if you look up J.J. Abrams now, it's probably going to come up with his son writing Spider-Man, right? I
Well,
mean, the J.J. Abrams
it's a
should be
single comic
about
book. It's
Star
not they're
Wars.
not taking it over, but I get what you're saying. It's a deflection, possibly.
Yeah, it's a deflection. Yeah.
Yeah. And the funny thing about that rabbit is when I first saw that, I thought, oh, that's nice. JJ using his power to get his son a ability to write something he likes. I was like, oh, that's nice. And everyone jumped on my head, dude. They're like, no, Chester, it's nepotism. I know it's nepotism. Bad, Chester, bad. And I was like, all right, fine.
Yeah, you should be punished.
I should be punished. Yeah.
How dare you find that sweet, a father and son kind of thing? Daddy, I want to write Superman. Oh, well, of course, son, you can write whatever you like. Big
Well,
Big
I'm
Daddy Abrams has got you.
I'm telling you what, dude. If I was in his position and my son wanted to do it, I'd make it happen,
Hmm.
and be damned the
Hmm.
consequences.
Absolutely,
Because
you'd be a bloody father of the year. Who cares what anyone else
That's
thinks?
right. That's right.
Yeah,
Exactly, dude. But
like their
maybe it's a
opinions
bit of
matter over the
deflection.
others.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Anyway, let's jump back over and take a look at the perks here on the Rabid Comics Quick Strike. Now, once you put a featured up, which is awesome. This is
Mhm.
one of your lower cost perks, I would assume. I haven't looked at them all. Um,
Mhm.
but you did go with a lower cost one for your feature, which I guess is fine. But this right here is basically the comic book and some digital wallpapers. All right.
Yeah. So, the featured one is the comic book. I feel like if you're at the whole point of this campaign is for me to make this comic book. So if you're supporting it, most likely the reason is because you want the comic book. That's why you came to play, right? I guess.
Yeah.
The digital wallpapers, because I want to offer something that's digital. The comic book won't be in digital format um, for various reasons, but yeah. So the featured one is just that's the reason I'm doing the campaign. I want to print the comic book. I want to
Sure.
put it out there.
Fair enough.
That's why it's featured. So everything's going to come with the tier that follows it.
Sure.
So the digital wallpapers, other than the thank you, of course, is just going to come with the next tier that follows it. So the digital wallpapers, then the comic book. The next one up is the swag item. So that's like
Right.
just additional add-ons if you want to support and get a little bit more from the campaign.
Well, you're doing you're doing stickers, which is kind of cool, and you got a 6x9 art print, which is nice, and Yeah, no.
and a button.
Now I noticed you said
Okay.
for various reasons you're not doing a digital version of the book, and of course we've had this
Mhm.
ongoing conversation here for those who are against it and those who are for it. So why are you against it? Just to add to
Okay.
the conversation,
Okay, so a couple of reasons. The first reason is because I don't know how. Okay, so get that out of the way.
Okay, well
Two,
there you go.
second
That's good
reason
enough.
is because I did speak with John Malin, and John Malin is completely opposed to it, and I think the guy knows what he's talking about. And his reason, which will be which will be the third reason, so or 2.B, is the reason he doesn't like it, and the reason that I would be wary of it is because of just piracy. I know it's possible if you got a physical copy of it to scan it and upload it online, but then you're going through a lot more hassle to do that, um, which should totally detract from it. But as an independent comic book publisher, and someone who supports indie comics, you would imagine that your audience wouldn't do that to you. You wouldn't pirate something that somebody's trying to make a living on. I'm not saying that it's not possible. It's definitely plausible. But I want
Think
people to
about
come. I want people to come to me to get a copy of the book.
I get it.
So that they can get. You know what I'm saying?
I do.
Instead of downloading an issue, who knows came from where, that I don't see a penny, from my hard work on it.
Sure.
Basically.
you're worried about something that you don't have to worry about at this
Yep.
scale. I mean,
Yep.
honestly, as many copies as Ethan sold, he probably sold them to 5,000 different individuals. There may be one out of those 5,000 guys who might do that. But if you sell 1,000 or 2,000, there's going to be 0.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? So you're worried about something that isn't going to hit this kind of
Yeah.
area.
Yeah. I like
Right.
that.
Well, what I'm trying to say is that even the small, minute possibility of it would affect me more than it would affect someone who's a bigger guy.
Well, no.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Okay. Excuse me. Let me add something to this. Okay. First of all,
Sure.
it's not going to affect you. Piracy. The moment you publish something, it's out. It's in the hands of people out there.
Right.
There will be somebody who will scan it so they can put it onto their tablet for convenience, and then send it over to their buddy. This is going to happen regardless of what you think and feel. It's just a fact. But you're losing out. See, you cannot think like John Mann. John Mann is at a different class. They're in the $100,000 class.
But it's still
You're
only
not
2,000
there.
people. It's not a
No, but
lot of people.
I know, but hold on a second. But you're not there. So you may be able to sell a lot more digital copies at a cheaper, more affordable price, especially overseas. And that's money that you're missing out on.
Yeah, and I think there's another aspect to this which we've never said, and I'm going to say it, not just to you, but to everyone else we've had this conversation with. The thing is, if I were putting a book out and I put a digital out and people were pirating, that would make me thrilled, dude. Because of
Really?
people pirating my
Yeah.
book and putting it out and people looking at it, it's getting to more eyes. And if I can get that free thing is out there running around and people looking at it, it's become more and more popular because it's good and they like it. Then when I put out further things, they're like, hey, I know that thing, and they come over and support you. Honestly, I would be thrilled if people were pirating my book because that shows that they think it's cool enough to share, dude.
And
True.
Chess is very accurate in this. There has been actual studies where piracy has actually gained more followers and more paid customers than.
No, I don't doubt it. I don't doubt it. I think myself, I'm totally guilty of that myself. I think I've seen comics online. I was like, oh, this is awesome, and I may have went and bought the physical copy myself. But I'm a physical copy guy.
Sure.
If I see
So am
something I
I.
like, I want to hold the book in my hand.
Yeah, I agree.
I see like artists I see online with their Instagram. Yeah, I can pull up their Instagram anytime.
Mhm.
But if they put out an art book with the exact same pictures they have on their Instagram, I guarantee I'd buy a physical copy of that book. I
Now-
could screenshot it and print it out but I'm not that guy.
Sure. Well, John is making a good point here in the chat. Diller Draws. He says the point isn't piracy. The point is getting the book at a much lower cost. The fear is people who would buy the book, but instead getting the cheaper digital. I've heard this argument too. I hear this as well. But then again, once again, the more people you get the book into their hands, the better. I don't care if it's cheap. I understand, but because I think people are looking too grandly at the thing. What we're doing over here in the indie market is very small. Even if you're looking at what Ethan did and the great success he had, it's still nothing comparatively. It's
Fighting
really
for
not.
scraps.
I have another
Right.
little viewpoint for that
As the
piracy
Packers
issue,
say.
right? The digital issue, right? Let's say for some people we just can't afford a physical copy, right? Particularly
Right.
international backers with
Sure.
the shipping and such, right? For us, it's a matter of we can buy digital or not at all.
Right.
Yeah. So that's just $0 rather than
Yeah, no, I agree. And DeWolf is angry again because he agrees with me. Sorry, DeWolf. I do apologize. And we have a brand new puppet account from Joshua. He says, "Send Rick to the pros." Jimmy pirated Rick's D&Q win. Well, you know what? When we have another D&Q and Rick is on there in the future sometime, if Pixel ever lets him in again, because you guys call me biased, you don't know nothing, dude. But if Rick comes in, well, then all you guys, all you Canadians, come together and go vote Rick in straight up. How's that? And
Look,
send him over to
if
the
you're going
pros
to
and
rig
let
the
Mike.
vote,
Yeah, if you're gonna rig it, right?
if you're gonna rig the vote, do it quicker.
Yeah, be
Before
faster
we
about
call
it.
it.
And
You
and see
gotta
how
rig it from the beginning, not
and see how
at
much
the end.
Mike enjoys it, because they will tear into him hard. Because if you haven't noticed one thing about the pros, they are heartless bastards, dude. Yeah, I said it.
And to segue smoothly from that, vote for me this week.
There you go. There you go.
Oh, yes.
There you go. But yeah, no, I get why Pixel made that. You guys keep running with a joke, but Rick can always come back and try again. You guys can vote him in if you'd like. Go right for it. I have no problem with that whatsoever. But anyway, we got this swag here, a package, which looks kind of nice. Where the damn is my mouse? There it is. And we're getting into the 2-comic, the ubiquitous 2-comic thing. But they tend to sell, though, in the long run. People like having the two, so I guess so they can share it or just read one and not read the other. We got a
Right.
T-shirt. Hold on a second.
Mhm.
T-shirt. I like T-shirts. Ooh, and that's got everything in it too. Yeah, I was actually I went and priced out and talked with the company about making T-shirts for the Tales from Beyond the Gate project. We had a really
Mhm.
nice shirt design for that actually. Yeah, T-shirts are fun. That's basically what 5,500. While the yen is really strong today. It won't stay that way because the Japanese government hates it when the yen is strong. They'll go and artificially drop that down. I guarantee it. It is strong though. Look at that. That's only 153 yen above. That's damn. It's like we're like
Have
at
you got T-shirt
102,
sizes for
103 something right
the?
now.
Have you got a T-shirt size for the husky man?
Oh,
Yeah, it goes all the way to a 5 extra extra large.
5XL.
5XL.
All
Oh,
right.
bloody hell, that's a towel. All right, awesome.
Yeah, how open is it?
Huge.
Booster, that's
Use that as
their
a
size,
parachute.
isn't it?
Uh-oh.
Nate?
Pixel is in here. Pixel has some
Yeah.
complaining to do.
No, it's far too small for me, George. What are you on about?
Far too small. Yeah. Okay, Pixel, you want to crack skulls? Go ahead and crack them, dude. Go at it.
No, I already moved on. No,
Oh, you did.
I was just gonna. Yeah. Well, I was just gonna bring up some of the arguments I had for digital, but
Oh,
we can do that offline. We
okay.
can move past that now.
Yeah, no, we're not focusing on Rabid specifically anyway. This is a long-term conversation we've been having over and over and over again. And I think you just have a certain group, part of the community that doesn't like it and another one that does. But I do think that a lot of the non-liking of it is simply looking at the what's going on in, with the comic books too largely. Thinking about, there's a big difference between worrying about people pirating your comic book compared to someone pirating the new God of War or something, right? It's a
I'll tell you
different
what.
conversation.
If he sells 30 digital copies, there's not going to be 30. No, there's no 30 criminals out there that are going to be pirating your book. So
No.
grab every penny you can because you're fighting
So-
for scraps.
Okay, since we're here,
All right.
part of the thing I think the digital guys tend to be the pros, if you've noticed. And it's
We have.
guys that have been in the industry and the ones that have had their sales affected by digital being pirated. But you look at it and you say, okay, well, every book that you sell is a sale. It's not something that just goes out to the comic shops or whatever. Every single book that you sell is a sale that goes in your pocket. The digital books, those are pure profit for you. Now, you could do this where you don't open up your digital book until you've already hit your goal.
Sure.
And then you've got a point where you know that you've made the money to print your book. Now you can release the digital copy for people that are international and stuff that don't want to pay for shipping.
Yeah. It could
That
be your
option's
first
available
stretch
to you.
goal. Yeah. Your
Exactly.
first stretch goal. Yeah.
And that's definitely a way
That's
to
not a
go
bad
with it.
idea. Yeah.
The other thing to keep in mind too, though, digital is, yes, people will pirate it, and it's just one of those things that's going to happen. But the bigger thing I have to ask you, because you said you really want people to get this book in their hands, are you planning on reprinting it or making copies available in the future if you run out of your print run? Because it seems like your margins are pretty tight, so you're probably not going to overprint too much of issue 1 or future issues. So you get to a point where you don't have any copies to give people, and people want the book. So then what do you do?
Well, there's always printers that you can do print on demand. Plus, the same with if you upload something to like Kablam or something like that, I think they keep your book in stock forever until you pull it yourself. So there's certain printers that they have their online stores or whatever.
Sure. And
I have a couple. Mm-hmm.
What's your margin on that? How much are you making per book?
How
much are you making per book? When you do print on demand like that?
Well, it depends because for the print on demand, it's a good question. I haven't looked much into it because I didn't assume that would be where I would be.
Right now, how many pages is your book?
Well, right now it's about 24 pages, not including the covers. But
it's about $4 digital on demand. The cost of it.
Okay,
$4 for digital on demand.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I'm saying this as a color book. As a black and white book, it'll be about $3 or a little less than $3.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, it's just something to keep in mind. The cost of giving somebody a physical copy, if it's about the same as a digital copy print on demand, then you're good to go. But if it's less, you may want to consider going digital because then it's pure profit for you. You don't have to share any of the money. Unless you go to like Comixology or something, then you've got fees there. But there's certain ways you can manage that. It's just something to think about.
Mm-hmm. And keep in mind that having it as a stretch goal after you've got the money you need to print your book is a good idea. And another thing a lot of people do when they have the digital is they will not release the digital until after the physical book is in everybody's hands as well.
Yes.
That's something
absolutely.
you can do, right?
Absolutely. That's the way to go. You have to do that. So that way everybody has the book at the same time.
Now, John, I've just been going with the assumption you're trolling as usual, which is what you do, and just going along with the joke. But are you still trolling with this, or are you actually butthurt? I mean, seriously? Let me know. But anyway,
that needs ointment.
Well, I don't know. I'm starting because I get the joke, but I'm starting to feel he's actually butthurt about something, and it's like, really?
Oh, he's not. No. He's not.
I wouldn't think so. I think he's just trolling as
we
usual.
were just hanging out with Rick.
I think he needs a nice little butt rub.
Maybe that's your job. That falls into your classification, sir.
I'm on it.
All right.
Oil up, boys.
Okay, he's oiling up, guys. Now we have original art as well. This is original art coming out of the book, I'm assuming. Rabid?
Yes. Sorry, what was the question?
We're continuing to look at your perks. The original art perk.
Right. So I'm gonna do a 6x9 piece. So not something that's a comic book, like not a page or anything of the book, but something that I'm gonna draw personally for whoever does that, picks that tier. So I'm gonna draw a piece for them, original piece.
Awesome, sweet, that's good to hear. And John says his butt is very hurt. Okay, well that answers. I'm going to send someone over to soothe your butt. His name is Booster. He's very, very small, but his hands are warm and oiled, so you'll be good to go.
Brings a lot of oil.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Lots. Your
I'm good with
name
my
here.
hands.
These are always fun little perks. What you got going on with this one, dude?
All right, so that's like the everything tier. A lot of when I started doing research for doing campaigns, they said you should always have $100 tier. So I was like, I want to stick everything in it that I could find. So it's gonna not only have the 2 copies, of the physical comic book. It's gonna have all the swag items, the T-shirt, original piece of art, but also have their name in the book. So whoever makes that backing, I'm gonna have a special backers page with their name in it, and it's gonna be in there forever.
Well, there you go. That is cool, dude. I love those little perks actually
Hmm.
that where you can get in the book, your name in the book, your face in the book, or something like that. That's a lot of fun.
Hmm.
And those, and that's your last perk you have here. You got 10 of those, so that's kind of cool. Let's see here over in the chat. Release the Kraken and the digital copies. DeWolf says. John Dillard says, my buddy. Oh yeah, I read that. Bullet says, make sure to provide a generous reach around. Generous reach
Oh no.
around.
Just skip it. Just skip it. Skip
Okay.
it.
Well, no,
Skip it.
I think I get what that means. John says, don't ignore the front. Yeah, no, okay, I get it. The comic pirate says, in a very small voice, I'm sure, me booty is a bit sore too. Okay.
Me booty is a bit sore, Torment. I would like a booty rub as well.
John says, "Do not ignore my front butt." And that just tells me a lot about what you eat, actually. Oh goodness, I expect good tips for this time. Gracious people. Speaking of butts, did my Lady Lone Star shipped out? Hashtag John Dillard. Brian Hawkins is asking, and John says, "Just the tip, I promise, and only for oh God, you people."
Oh no.
Bad, Johns. Bad. All right, but yeah, nice looking perks there. You got a good looking page, man. Looks like a fun project, and hopefully people will go over and check it out. Of course, we're going to have one of our moderators drop that link again. But good on you, dude. And it's nice having a conversation too. It was good to see what you're thinking and what your process is. And we had a good conversation about the kind of the logistics of comics as well. And it's good to hear that you've looked into it. You've prepared yourself. And that's good to hear because we've certainly had guests on that have no clue what they're doing. They're just like, hey, I can make a comic, and they just throw it up on Indiegogo and have no clue. And of course, those things usually explode into giant fireballs. So good on you for that, dude. But we are going to get ourselves ready to get out of here. But I would like to know if you have any last little comments, little elevator pictures, or anything like that you'd like to get people over here looking at your page, dude.
Just that it's a real fun action comic. Anybody who's into like the '90s style of comic books back in the day, like the Jim Lee stuff. That's what it's all about. And if you back this project, it's not just backing this particular comic book, but what you're doing is actually backing all the Quick Strike or Cat comics in the future. So you're
There you
supporting
go.
more than just one project.
All right, sweet. And I really do love your logo, actually, Rabid Comics logo with the rabbit. That's really cool. I haven't mentioned it yet, but I always thought that was kind of cool. But rock on, dude. Anybody else here have something they want to say before we get out of here? No. Everyone has said everything they need to say forever.
Nothing.
And certainly enough of the front arounds or whatever you call that. We don't need any more of that, John. Thank you very much. But you guys rock. Do keep in tomorrow. Keep in mind that tomorrow, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we are continuing with our Vampire the Masquerade RPG, Gehenna Rising. That's a lot of fun. We know it's a bit more niche, but we really appreciate the group that comes in there and watches that with us and sees how that story is developing. We're doing more of an actual dungeon crawl tomorrow with the game than that we had before, so that's going to be fun. And we're doing it old school too, by the way. We do have some other things coming up this week, of course, with all our different shows and such. But I am going to let the Dinale deal with that in his closing. Go ahead, dude.
All right. Well, thank you, everybody. Thank you to our guests from Rabid Comics. Back Quick Strike. If it catches your fancy, it definitely catches ours. And support the indie comics. This is always helping, move forward the industry on that. Join my newsletter at dinalescomics@gmail.com for the updates for the Immortal Mass. I can't wait to show you guys the promos art. It's going to blow you guys away. Like Chester said, join us tomorrow for Bugspare Basement, Gehenna Rising. We're doing a dungeon draw. We'll see if we'll survive this or if the internet will still be working. Who knows? And then Wednesday, we got Comics You Today at 8 p.m. Eastern, followed by Blacklist Universe Drawn and Quarter Pro Edition, where we're having Jiminy Cricket, our champion from last week, disputed, be there in the Pro Edition. And then on Thursday at 8 p.m., another Comics News Today with the fan edition of Drawn and Quarter. What is our theme for that one again? Remind me, Pixel.
Pixel. What is this week's fan edition?
Off-worlder.
Off-worlder.
The
Yeah, baby.
Off-worlder. So we have Ben Hennessy on that episode as well. And then Friday we have Fan Speak, followed by our regular schedule TFT.
Which is Saturday, not Friday. And Pixel said there is no dispute, just to translate.
No disputes. It's done. Moving on. The boss has spoken on that. But as always, your perception is shaped by your reality, so always make it a good one.
Namaste.
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 All right, guys. Later. Thanks for joining us.
Later.
Thank you.
Cover Crash is coming.